Assalamu alaikum. We'd like to go ahead and start the English Majlis at this time. We kindly invite everyone in the outside hall to make their way into the middle hall, as we're going to be starting with a short surah recited by Brother Ali Raza. Salawat.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا أقسم بيوم القيامة ولا أقسم بالنفس اللوامة. أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانا. فإذا برق البصر وخسف القمر وجمع الشمس والقمر يقول الإنسان يومئذ أين المفر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا أقسم بيوم القيامة ولا أقسم بالنفس اللوامة. أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه. فإذا برق البصر وخسف القمر وجمع الشمس والقمر يقول الإنسان يومئذ أين المفر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآله.
Please recite aloud Salat for Brother Ali Raza for that beautiful recitation of Next, we're gonna have Hadith Kisa recited by Brother Hasnain. Please recite about Salat.
Salawat. In the name of Allah, the All-Merciful, the All-Compassionate, Fatima al-Zahra, the daughter of the Prophet, peace be upon them, is to have thus related an event. My father, the Prophet of Allah, came to my house one day and said to me, "Peace be upon you, Fatima." I replied, "And upon you be peace." Then he said, "I feel weakness in my body." I said, "Allah protects you from weakness, father." He said, "Fatima, please bring the Yemeni cloak and cover me with it." So I brought the Yemeni cloak and covered him with it. Then I looked at him and saw that his face was shining like a full moon with its glory and splendor. After a while, my son Hassan came in and said, "Peace be upon you, mother." I replied, "And upon you peace, O light of my eyes and the delight of my heart." He then said, "Mother, I smell a fragrance so sweet and so pure as that of my grandfather, the Prophet of Allah." I replied, "Yes, your grandfather is lying underneath the cloak." Hassan went near the cloak and said, "Peace be on you, my grandfather, the Prophet of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you?" He replied, "And upon you be peace, my son and the master of my fountain, Kothar. You are given the permission to enter." So Hassan entered the cloak with him. After a while, my son Hussein came in and said, "Peace be on you, mother." I replied, "And upon you peace, O light of my eyes and the delight of my heart." He then said, "Mother, I smell a sweet fragrance like that of my grandfather, the Prophet of Allah." I replied, "Yes, your grandfather and your brother are lying underneath the cloak." Hussein stepped towards the cloak and said, "Peace be on you, my grandfather, the chosen of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you?" He replied, "And upon you peace, my son and the interceder of my followers. You are given the permission to enter." So Hussein entered the cloak with them. After a while, Abul Hassan Ali ibn Abi Talib came in and said, "Peace be on you, O daughter of the Prophet of Allah." I replied, "And upon you peace, O father of Hassan and the commander of the faithful." He then said, "Fatima, I smell a sweet fragrance like that of my brother, my cousin, the Prophet of Allah." I replied, "Yes, he is underneath the cloak with your two sons." So Ali went near the cloak and said, "Peace be on you, O Prophet of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you?" He replied, "And upon you peace, my brother, my legatee, my successor, and my standard bearer. You are given the permission to enter." So Ali entered the cloak with them. Then I stepped forward and said, "Peace be on you, my father, O Prophet of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you?" He replied, "And upon you be peace, my daughter, O part of myself. You are given the permission to enter." So I entered the cloak with them. Getting together underneath the cloak, my father, the Prophet of Allah, held the two ends of the cloak together and raised his right hand towards the heavens and prayed, "O Allah, these are the people of my household, Ahlul Bayt. They are my confidence and my supporters. Their flesh is my flesh and their blood is my blood. Whoever hurts them hurts me too. Whoever displeases them displeases me too. I am at war with those at war with them. I am at peace with those at peace with them. I am the enemy of their enemies and I am the friend of their friends. They are from me and I am from them. O Allah, bestow your blessings, benevolence, forgiveness, and your pleasure upon me and upon them, and remove impurity from them and keep them thoroughly pure." Then the Lord Almighty Allah said, "O my angels, O residents of my heavens, verily I have not created the erected sky, the stretched earth, the illuminated moon, the bright sun, the rotating planets, the flowing seas, and the sailing ships, but for the love of these five lying underneath the cloak." Jibreel, the trusted angel, asked, "Who are under the cloak?" The Almighty answered, "They are the household of the Prophet and the assets of the Prophet. They are Fatima, her father, her husband, and her two sons." Jibreel said, "O Lord, may I fly to earth to be the sixth of them?" Allah replied, "Yes, you are given the permission." Jibreel the trusted landed near them and said, Peace be on you, O Prophet of Allah. The All-Highest conveys his peace on you and his greetings and says, By my honor and glory, O my angels, O residents of my heavens, verily I have not created the erected sky, the stretched earth, the illuminated moon, the bright sun, the rotating planets, the flowing seas, and the sailing ships, but for your sake and love. God has given me permission to enter the cloak with you. May I join you, O Prophet of Allah? The Prophet replied, And peace be upon you, O trusted bearer of Allah's revelations. You are granted the permission. So Jibreel entered the cloak with us and said to my father, Allah sent his revelations to you. Verily Allah desires to remove blemish from you, O people of the household Ahlul Bayt, and purify you with the perfect purification. Then Ali said to my father, O Prophet of Allah, tell me, what significance has Allah given for getting together underneath this cloak? The Prophet replied, By him who rightfully appointed me a prophet and chose me a messenger for the salvation of mankind. Whenever and wherever an assembly of our followers and friends mention this event, Allah will bestow on them his blessings and mercy. Angels will encircle them, asking Allah the remission of their sins until the assembly disperse. So Ali said, Verily by the Lord of the Kaaba, we and our followers are the winners. Then my father replied, By him who rightfully appointed me a prophet and chose me a messenger for the salvation of the mankind, whenever and wherever an assembly of our followers and friends mention this event, there shall remain none grieved, but Allah will remove his grief. There shall remain none distressed, but Allah will dispel his distress. There shall remain none wish-seeker, but Allah will grant his wish. Ali happily said, Verily by the Lord of the Kaaba, we and our followers are the winners and the blessed in this world and the next.
Please recite aloud Salat for Brother Hussein for that recitation of Hadith Kisa. Next, we're going to have a short salam recited by Brother Shabir. Please recite aloud Salat.
Fatima, you have given all of your family for Allah. There is your son standing alone, calling for help. Ya Allah, where is the flag bearer of Islam to support him? Ya Allah, where is Akbar to comfort him? The reminder of Rasulullah, where is Asghar? With such parched lips, he was so thirsty, Ya Allah. Fatima, you have given all of your family for Allah. There is your son standing alone, calling for help, Ya Allah. Your backbone Abbas, he loved his niece Ruqayya, your daughter. He offered his arms and his right eye just to fetch her water. An empty mosque, a fallen flag, the moon of Hashemites slaughtered. Fatima, you have given all of your family for Allah. There is your son standing alone, calling for help, Ya Allah. Hazrat Akbar, like the Prophet in his looks and soul, he tasted death, but to Allah was his ultimate goal. Standing for truth, his sacrifice sweeter than honey, Allah. Fatima, you have given all of your family for Allah. There is your son standing alone, calling for help, Ya Allah. A broken back, a blood-stained beard, where can he turn now, Allah? This is the son of the Prophet's daughter, Lady Zahra. When he is gone, what will happen to Zainab, Ya Allah? Fatima, you have given all of your family for Allah. There is your son standing alone, calling for help, Ya Allah. Fatima, you have given all of your family for Allah. There is your son standing alone, calling for help, Ya Allah.
Please recite a loud salat for Brother Shabir for that beautiful recitation of Salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. Just a couple quick announcements. We kindly ask everyone to please put their phones on silent as the Majlis is in progress. And we kindly ask everyone to please move up for proper Majlis etiquette as much as possible. And without further ado, I'd like to invite Sayyid Bilal Rizvi to the minbar to address the Majlis. Please recite a loud salat. And this is a request for the ladies section to please also remain quiet during the program. Salat.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
For Marhum Sayyid Muharram Ali Shorat ibn Jawad Hussain Abidi, Sayyida Awari Khatun bint Ibni Hassan ibn Hassan Abidi, Sayyid Sabta Hassan ibn Ali Hussain Abidi, Abdullah Hassan ibn Muhammad Isaac Hassan, Ali Amir ibn Khurban Hussain, Layla Begum bint Sheikh Ismail Bhai, and Ali Abrar ibn Ali Amir, Suratul Mubarakat al-Fatiha. Bismillah. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على إمام القبلتين ونبي الحرمين وأفضل الثقلين وجد الحسن والحسين الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الصادقين والذين ذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على صاحب الدعوة النبوية والسولة الحيدرية والإسمة الفاطمية والحلم الحسنية والشجاعة الحسينية والعبادة السجادية والمعاطر الباقرية والآثار الجعفرية والعلوم الكاذمية والحجج الرذبية والجود الثقبية والنقابة النقبية والحيبة العسكرية والغيبة الإلهية اللهم عجل فرجه وساهل مخرجه أما بعد فقد قال الله في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وجعلنا منهم أئمة يهدون بأمرنا لما صبروا وكانوا بآياتنا يوقنون صدق الله العلي العظيم. For the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the love of Fatima al-Zahra in particular, a second salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the hastening of the reappearance of the master of our time, a louder salawat ala Muhammad wa ali. The verse which I just recited is the 24th verse of the 32nd chapter of the Quran, Surah As-Sajdah. Within this verse, Allah mentions what the signs of an imam are. And He says, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا لَمَّا صَبَرُوا وَكَانُوا بِآيَاتِنَا يُوقِنُونَ. That we have made from amongst them imams, that we are the ones who make an imam. And these are those imams who give hidayah and guidance by our command. Number two, they do this when they have patience and are in a state of sabr. And number three, you find that within our signs, they have yaqeen and certainty. So over here we find three qualities are mentioned. Number one, an imam is he who gives hidayah and guidance. Number two, an imam is he who has sabr and patience. And number three, an imam has yaqeen and certainty. And when you look at each of these three qualities, you find that they manifest in a special area within the life of Imam Zainul Abidin. The third of these signs was certainty. You see, the certainty of Imam Zainul Abidin would manifest in the ibadah of Zainul Abidin. Because the Quran says, وَعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ. That worship your Lord until you attain a state of certainty. From this ayat we understand that yaqeen and ubudiyah are linked to each other. And the kamal of ubudiyah and servitude is the kamal of yaqeen and certainty. So the certainty of Zainul Abidin manifests within the ibadat of Zainul Abidin. You see, when you and I do ibadat, the most we can become is an abid and a worshipper. But he is the one, when he would do ibadat, he would become Zainul Abidin and the beautification of the worshippers. That what was the worship of Imam Zainul Abidin? It's stated that this Imam al-Baqir would say that when I would look at my father would stand so still that the only thing that would move upon my father were his clothes. and upon his face would be the fear of Allah, and it would be to such an extent that I would have mercy for my father. And when I would speak to my father and I would ask him that, why do you have such ibadah? My father would say, oh my son, go and get that scroll. And within that scroll, the Imam would say, this is the worship of Ali ibn Abi Talib. However much I've done hasn't come close to the worship of Amir al-Mu'mineen. So you find the first sign of an Imam in this ayat was what? It was yaqeen. And the yaqeen of Imam Zainul Abidin would manifest in the ibadat of Zainul Abidin. The second sign of an Imam within this ayat was sabr. And the sabr of Imam Zainul Abidin would manifest in the tears of Imam Sajjad for his father. You see, it's ironic that I am saying that the sabr of the Imam would manifest in tears. Because you and I, when we cry oftentimes, it is because we're heartbroken. But Imam Zainul Abidin's job was to bring consciousness about Karbala. When Imam Zainul Abidin would speak about his father, all of those wounds in Karbala would come back towards him. And when he would inform about Karbala, you find those tears of Zainul Abidin were the tears of sabr. But the third sign of an Imam in this ayat is that an Imam guides by our command. You see, the question comes, is that what was the guidance of Imam Zainul Abidin? Because Imam Zainul Abidin's time didn't allow for him to have students like Imam al-Baqir and Imam al-Sadiq. Yes, the famous Medinian historian like Az-Zuhri was a student of the Imam, but he didn't have public students in that matter. And when you look at the life of Imam Zainul Abidin, the only sermon of Imam Zainul Abidin we have is in the court of Yazid. After that, we don't find any other sermon of the Imam at that level openly. So in that sense, we find that the guidance that Imam Zainul Abidin would give were found within the du'as of Imam Zainul Abidin. You see, people, they talk about what is the outcome of Karbala. Karbala had many different outcomes. You know, amongst those outcomes, Ayatollah Sayyid al-Hakim, who just passed away recently in Najaf, he says that one of the outcomes of Karbala is that sanctity for the Khilafat ended after Karbala. After Karbala, the Khalifa was only viewed as a political leader, not as a political and a religious leader. You find other outcomes we mention about the different revolutions after Karbala. But why is it that we don't consider Sahifatul Sajjadiyya as one of the nata'ij and the outcomes of Karbala? You see, because Imam Zainul Abidin, after going from difficulty to difficulty, he would show mankind that this is how a heart which has been tested by trials look like. This is how a heart which has tawakkul upon Allah look like. You see, Imam Zainul Abidin's time, he couldn't preach openly, but he gave the ruling class a predicament. And the predicament was this, is that if we stop this man from giving these du'as, people will call us kuffar and disbelievers. Because even though we're outwardly Muslims, we can't stop somebody from doing dua. But what the Imam would do is in each of these du'as, he would give the entire message of Islam within these du'as. That if you want to understand the Tawheed of Allah, the first dua of the Sahifa is there. And when you want to understand the akhlaq of Rasulullah, dua Makarimul Akhlaq is there. When you want to understand the role of the Malaika, the third dua is there. When you want to understand the haqiqat of Rasulullah, the second dua is there. When you want to understand that what is a rizq, the Imam, he says in As-Sahifatul Sajjadiyya that, oh Allah, you have promised my sustenance. And if you have promised my sustenance, then don't allow me to be worried about that which you have promised. You see, in each of these du'as, the Imam is giving an entire summary of Islamic thought. And indeed, the subject of tonight is to examine as-Sahifatu Sajjadiyya and give you an insight into the backdrop to approach the Sahifa. Because on the first night, I examined Ziyaratul Nahiya, which was related to the Aza of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And yesterday, I examined the institution of Ziyarah. And tonight, we'll examine this institution of du'as. You see, in this time period of anxiety, of uncertainty, when life it changes, these are those institutions which keep you steadfast. The institution of Azah, the institution of Ziyarah, and the institution of Dua. You see, what is as-Sahifatu Sajjadiyya? As-Sahifatu Sajjadiyya is that work which was called the Injil and the Gospel of Ali Muhammad. In other traditions, it was called the Zabur of Ali Muhammad, the Psalms of Ahlul Bayt. But in other traditions, it was called Ukhtul Quran, the sister of the Quran. You know, I know many of you are inquisitive and you'll ask, why is it Ukhtul Quran? Why not the brother of the Quran? It's because in the Arabic language, Sahifa is mu'annath and feminine. And because of that, as-Sahifatu Sajjadiyya is Ukhtul Quran. But why was this work called Ukhtul Quran? You see, the first reason it was called the sister of the Quran is that the themes and the message and the spirit of the Quran reflect in as-Sahifatu Sajjadiyya. The second reason it is called Ukhtul Quran is that the Quran came via the means of wahi and revelation. But as-Sahifatu Sajjadiyya came via the means of ilham and inspiration. You see, you and I, even if we spend day and night to try to make a dua like Imam Zainul Abidin, we wouldn't be able to do so. But Imam Zainul Abidin didn't have to think about these duas. He would raise his hands and from the top of his head, he would begin to give these duas which have been analyzed for 1400 years. That this is Zainul Abidin. But the third reason why this work is called the sister of the Quran is that in the way the Quran is unique in being the words of Allah, as-Sahifatu Sajjadiyya is unique in terms of the words of the creation and the makhluk of Allah. That the Quran says that even if you try, you will not be able to bring a chapter from this Quran. But in the same way, one cannot come to the reality of a Sahifatu Sajjadiyya. Now, before I go into the isnad of the Sahifa and some of the themes within a Sahifatu Sajjadiyya and what different ulama and non-Muslims have said about a Sahifatu Sajjadiyya, number one, it's important for us to understand what is dua. And this is of fundamental importance, because if I took a general poll from the audience and I asked you what is dua, you would reply by saying that dua is when you ask Allah for something in return. But when you look at the traditions of Ahlul Bayt, the traditions of Ahlul Bayt give a much more profound understanding of dua. When Imam al-Baqir says, ad-dua huwa al-ibadah, that dua is ibadat. Or he says, ad-dua mukhul ibadah, that dua is the core of worship. Or another hadith says, ad-dua afdalul ibadah, that dua is the best of worship. This goes to show that in our relationship with Allah, there is something fundamentally important which dua it holds. And if we want to understand that fundamental importance, we need to understand what does the word dua mean literally from the Arabic language. Because when you look at the word dua, it comes in the Arabic language from the word da'a, which means to call Allah. In that sense, you find that calling upon Allah is the most fundamental thing we can do within our relationship towards Allah. Allah says to Musa, Musa, salni kullama tahtaju ilay. O Musa, whatever you need, ask from me, O Musa. Hatta alafa shatik wa milh. That even if you need grass for your sheep, And even if you need salt for that dough which makes your bread, ask from me, O Musa. O Musa, never be shy to come towards my door. You see, to call upon Allah is one of the signs of ishq. You see, when you take that lutf from the remembrance of Allah, or you take that lutf from the dhikr of Ahlul Bayt, you find that is one of the signs that your heart is alive. You know, Allah said to Musa, that, oh Musa, you see that person in your town, my adab and my punishment has come on that person. Musa says, oh Allah, his finances are fine, his health is fine, his family is fine, nothing looks wrong with him. What adab have you brought on him? Allah says, oh Musa, فَأَخْرَجْتُ حَلَاوَةَ ذِكْرِي مِنْ قَلْبِهِ, I removed the sweetness of my remembrance and my dhikr from his heart. The moment the love of that dhikr of Ahlul Bayt or Allah leaves the heart of a person, you find that this is an alama that one is being distanced. But one of the methods to return to Allah is through the method of dua. Because you know what the essence of dua is? Dua, it allows one's soul to be molded around the irada and the will of Allah. And I'll give you an example from As-Sahifatu Sajjadiyah. The Imam in his dua for times of illness, he says, oh Allah, I don't know which is better for me, health or illness. And Ya Allah, whichever is better for your remembrance, give me that, oh Allah. You know, oftentimes we think something is good for us, but in reality, that is what's our detriment. You know, in the time period of Rasulullah, there was a companion by the name of Tha'laba. And Tha'laba would be at the mosque praying behind Rasulullah for every prayer. And he was an individual who was in a great state of poverty. Whenever anyone had anything extra, Rasulullah would say, go and give it to Tha'laba. If you have extra money, give it to Tha'laba. If you have food, give it to Tha'laba. If you have extra clothing, give it to Tha'laba. Tha'laba says, oh Rasulullah, I want to start a business. Can you give me some money, O Rasulullah? Rasulullah says, Tha'laba, poverty is better for you. That it's not good for you, O Tha'laba, to have this business. But Tha'laba, he insisted at the door of Rahmatan lil Alameen. Rasulullah gives 2 coins to Tha'laba. And when Rasulullah gives these coins, it has the barakah of the hand of Rasulullah. Wasn't it upon that day when Rasulullah had da'watul ashira, and the Quraysh, they saw one leg of a goat and they say, we eat entire goat by ourselves. Rasulullah put his hand upon the goat and everyone would eat from that and it wouldn't run out. Now Rasulullah gave 2 coins to Tha'laba. Tha'laba, he buys 1 animal. And then his business, it begins to grow. As it's growing, Tha'laba, he stops coming for every prayer. He comes from 1 prayer with Rasulullah. Then it becomes once a week. Then it becomes once a month. A point it comes that Tha'laba, he wouldn't go to the mosque. So Rasulullah says to a person, go and find Tha'laba and tell him that Rasulullah was asking about you. When he goes and finds Tha'laba, the Tha'laba says to the man that I'm very busy, I don't have time to go. When that man, he informs Rasulullah, Rasulullah says, oh Ali, go to Tha'laba and take those 2 dirhams which I had given him back. You know what Tha'laba says when Amir al-Mu'mineen goes and he asks from Tha'laba? Tha'laba says, tell Muhammad. He doesn't say Rasulullah. He says, tell Muhammad that the only thing I will give him back are those 2 dirhams which he had given me. The moment Amir al-Mu'mineen takes those 2 dirhams, the business of Tha'laba, it begins to fall apart. He loses everything. He comes back to the mosque and he begins to spend time in the mosque. But before, Rasulullah would give his salam to Tha'laba. But now when Tha'laba gives his salam to Rasulullah, Rasulullah doesn't reply to him. Because that iman had left from the heart of Tha'laba. You see, what Imam Zainul Abidin shows in As-Sahifatul Sajjadiyah is that when we make dua towards Allah, oftentimes our knowledge is limited. And we aren't asking for what is best from us. You know, people, they ask the question that why is it my duas aren't answered? I prayed for my business flopped. And I prayed for my marriage, I wasn't able to get married. And I prayed for my children weren't guided. You see, there's different answers to this question. One answer is that you don't understand the methodology and the conditions of dua. When you go to a doctor doesn't just give you a prescription. He says, take this prescription at this time, this is the amount of dose, and this is how you take it. You see, the verses of the Quran, they say that Allah replies to duas. There's no doubt. Allah says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي أَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. That when my servants ask about me, tell them I am qareeb, I am near, and I reply to their duas. But Allah says, وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي, that have them believe in me. We find iman, it became one condition. Another verse says, فَادْعُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ, that call Allah with sincerity. Sincerity becomes a condition. Another tradition, they go to Imam As-Sadiq, they say, oh Imam, my duas aren't answered. Imam As-Sadiq says, لِأَنَّكُمْ تَدْعُونَ مَنْ لَا تَعْرِفُونَهُ, because you are calling upon the one whose ma'rifat you don't have. Because if you are ma'rifah of Allah, you find at that point you'll begin to ask for others, not just yourself. You see, one of the philosophies of dua is that ananiya, and that I-ness within a person, it begins to think about others. And that's why the hadith says that when you make 40 individuals, you make dua for them before yourself, Allah accepts that dua. Allah says to that person that look at my ab, he is thinking about my creation. At that point, Allah says he doesn't even have to ask me, for I know what is within the depth of his heart. So you find this is amongst the power of dua. So one reason dua isn't answered is because of conditions. But another reason why duas aren't answered is because, yes, one of the names of Allah is Mujib. Allah, He answers, there's no doubt. But at the same time, Allah is Hakim and wise as well. The Quran says, وَيَدْعُ اللَّهَ, that a person, he makes dua bishar du'a'ahu bil khair, that he prays for his own downfall in the way that he prays for khair as well and goodness as well. So you find these are different answers that are given, and amongst the other answers is that a mu'min's dua is always answered. A mu'min's dua is always answered. Imam Zainul Abidin says, Du'a'ul mu'min ala talat, that the duas of a believer are of three types. Number one, either it's given to you immediately, or number two, it is delayed for you, or number three, via that dua, Allah removes an adab and a punishment from you. The form is different of that dua. So you find this is the reality of dua. But when you look at all of the different duas, you find that As-Sahifatul Sajjadiyah is something which is unique. Now without a doubt, Nahjul Balagha has a great maqam. Nahjul Balagha is the words of Amir al-Mu'mineen. But you know what the difference between Nahjul Balagha and As-Sahifatul Sajjadiyah is? Nahjul Balagha was compiled by Sayyid al-Radi, a great alim. But As-Sahifatul Sajjadiyah was compiled by Imam Zainul Abidin. And Imam Zainul Abidin would dictate the Sahifa. And there would be two asnad for As-Sahifatul Sajjadiyah. On one side, Imam Zainul Abidin would tell Imam al-Baqir to write these duas, and Imam al-Baqir would give it to Imam al-Sadiq. But on the other side, you find that Imam Zainul Abidin would tell Zayd al-Shaheed to recite these duas, and Zayd al-Shaheed would give these duas to his son Yahya. You know, even today, there is a copy of As-Sahifatul Sajjadiyah amongst the Zaydiyah as well. And there was a marhum scholar, Sayyid Jalali, who lived over here and now he's passed away. He had done much research upon the Zaydi asnad of As-Sahifat As-Sajjadiyah. You know, one of the reasons when you look at the titles of As-Sahifat As-Sajjadiyah, As-Sahifat As-Sajjadiyah was a title that was given later to this work of du'as. In the time period of the Imams, either it was called Du'a'ul Kamil or it was called As-Sahifatul Kamila, the completed Sahifa. You know, ulama, they discussed that why is this called As-Sahifatul Kamila? One reason, one view and opinion is that amongst the Zaydis, in their Sahifa they have less du'as. But in our version it is Kamil because it has more du'as. But according to the most famous commentary of As-Sahifat As-Sajjadiyah called Riyadus Salikin, which was written by Sayyid Ali Khan al-Madani in 7 volumes, he says the reason it is called Kamila and perfect is because of the eloquence of these du'as and the style of these du'as. You see, there is one common narrator between our sanad of Sahifat As-Sajjadiyah and the Zaydi sanad of Sahifat As-Sajjadiyah. And that common narrator is Mutawakkil ibn Harun, a companion of Imam Sadiq. It is stated in the famous hadith, and this hadith is mentioned in the beginning of every version of As-Sahifat As-Sajjadiyah. In the English language, the most famous translation is the translation of William Chittick. Now, although William Chittick makes mistakes at parts and he skips some line, it's still a great service he did. And in Urdu, the most famous translation is the translation of Mufti Ja'far Hussain. So you find in all of these different editions, this hadith is in the beginning. And this hadith, it says, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And this hadith, it says that Mutawakkil ibn Harun, he meets Yahya, the son of Zayd, as Yahya is going to Khurasan. When they meet each other, Yahya says to Mutawakkil that, where are you coming from? Mutawakkil says, I am coming from Medina. When he says Medina, Yahya says, did you meet with my cousin Ja'far as-Sadiq? And did my cousin Ja'far as-Sadiq tell you anything? He replies by saying that Ja'far as-Sadiq told me about your ending affair. Because Yahya and Zayd al-Shaheed, they had an uprising and they would be martyred. But at the same time, Ja'far as-Sadiq gave me a dua as well. Yahya says to Mutawakkil bin Harun that, O Mutawakkil, my cousin is the one who knows my affair, tell me what will happen. I don't fear death. Mutawakkil says, you will be martyred. At that moment, you find that Yahya says to Mutawakkil bin Harun that you want to know what is the difference between me and my cousin Ja'far as-Sadiq. The difference is that whatever I know, he knows. But whatever he knows, I don't know. But the other difference is that we invite to death and martyrdom, they invite to life. That's why they're liked by more individuals. But after that, you find this individual, he shows that dua to Yahya the son of Zayd. At that point, Yahya the son of Zayd, he says that I am giving you the copy of the Sahifa that my father Zayd had, and take it to my cousins Muhammad bin Abdullah bin Hassan al-Mutanna and Ibrahim bin Abdullah bin Hassan al-Mutanna, and give the copy of Zayd to them after you have checked this copy with Imam Sadiq. When you find that Mutawakkil, he takes the copy of Zayd al-Shaheed to Imam Sadiq. Imam Sadiq says to Ismail that bring me the Sahifa copy of my father Imam al-Baqir. And the moment the copy of Imam al-Baqir comes out, the hadith, it says Imam al-Sadiq begins to kiss the handwriting of his father Imam al-Baqir. And he looks at both of the copies and he says the du'as in both of these are the same. But then he says that, O Mutawakkil, take this copy of Sahifat As-Sajjadiyah and don't show it to anyone. Sir, this sahifa is from amongst the asrar of Ali Muhammad. You see, these du'as in a sahifa to sajjadiyah are such powerful du'as that for a portion in history, these du'as were hidden from the Shia of Ahlul Bayt, because they didn't want these du'as to go into the hands of Banu Umayyah. That if you want to look at the power of these du'as, Sayyid al-Burajardi, a famous scholar in Qom who's passed away now, he would say that mu'jizat begin to manifest in the words of Zainul Abidin. And Muhammad Taqi Majlisi, the father of Allam al-Majlisi, he would say that even if we have no sanad for Sahifat al-Sajjadiyah, and although the asnad are there in multiple forms, he said even if all we had was the text, just the text of Sahifat al-Sajjadiyah shows that there is no one who could have written this besides Zainul Abidin. But you know, one of the most famous examples of the greatness of a Sahifat al-Sajjadiyah is when Ayatollah Mar'ashi Najafi sent the copy of Sahifa to Tantawi. Tantawi was the head of Al-Azhar, and he was the Grand Mufti of Egypt, and he passes away in the late 90s. When Tantawi received the copy of a Sahifat al-Sajjadiyah, he writes to Ayatollah Marashi Najafi, he says, I received those du'as which are from Zainul Abidin, which are from Imam al-Zahidin, the Imam of the ascetics. And he says, Min ash-shaqa anna ila al-an لم نقف على هذا الأثر القيم الخالد من مواريث النبوة ولا من تراث أهل البيت. That it is a sign of our own lowliness, from our shaqa and our poverty, that we have never seen such a dua. That never amongst the works of the Anbiya or Ahlul Bayt have I seen such a dua. And he says, فَكُلَّمَا تَأَمَّلْتُهَا, every time I reflect over this work, وَجَدْتُهَا فَوْقَ كَلَامِ الْبَشَرِ وَتَحْتَ كَلَامِ الْخَالِقِ. That every time I look at a Sahifat al-Sajjadiyah, it becomes clear to me that this is above the words of the creation but less than the words of the Creator. You see, this is a Sahifat al-Sajjadiyah. You know, Anna Marie Schimmel had done the German translation of a Sahifat al-Sajjadiyah. And when she was doing the German translation, a point had come where her mother was ill. And when her mother was ill, there was somebody in the same hospital room. At that time period, there would be multiple patients in one room. And when that patient saw that Anna Marie Schimmel, all she would do is work, she says that, what are you working on? She says, I am translating a work of du'as from the grandson of Muhammad. That lady says, you are a Christian. We have our own tradition of prayers and supplications, and you are working upon the work from a Muslim figure. Anna Marie Schimmel says, I didn't reply there. But all I did is that when I translated a Sahifat al-Sajjadiyah, I made sure to send a copy to that lady. When that lady, she read a Sahifat al-Sajjadiyah, she says, never in my life have I felt the noor and the presence of Allah like within these du'as. You see, this is the words of Imam Zainul Abidin. That Imam Zainul Abidin, when he has this dua, you find that supplication after supplication show the status of the Imam. And I don't have time to go into a survey of the supplications, but one example I'll give you is a famous dua known as dua number 7 from as-Sahifat al-Sajjadiyah. And I myself have seen the advice of Sayyid Sistani that whenever anyone is in difficulty, recite this dua. But if you look at the rhetoric of Imam Zainul Abidin in this dua, it goes to show that the Imam is coming at the level of realizing pain. He says, Ya man tuhallu bihi uqadul makar. Oh, the one who unties the knots of difficulty. That do you see this language over here? When a person is in hardship and anxiety, doesn't it feel like it's hard to breathe? Doesn't it feel as if there is a knot? Imam Zainul Abidin is saying, oh Allah, you are the only one who can untie that knot. وَيَا مَنْ يُفْتَأُ بِهِ حَدُّ الشَّدَائِدِ. And oh Allah, the sharpness of severity and the sharpness of hardship, you are the only one who can dull that knife, oh Allah. وَيَا يُلْتَمَسُ مِنْهُ الْمَخْرَجُ إِلَى رَوْحِ الْفَرَجِ. And oh Allah, if there is any relief, if there is any faraj, then I only turn towards you, oh Allah. You see, Imam Zainul Abidin in this dua explains the philosophy of hardship. People, they ask that, why is it that I'm going through difficulty? And one misconception we have is that only our wrongdoings bring hardship. Without a doubt, some wrongdoings, they do bring hardship. That if you do something wrong, you lose the trust of those who are around you. But at the end of the day, hardship was in the life of Ahlul Bayt, and Ahlul Bayt were ma'soom. Rasulullah says, Ma udiya nabiyun kama uditu. No prophet was given aziyat and difficulty like I, Rasulullah. But you see, another reason why trial and tribulation occurs, amongst the many reasons, is that Allah seeks to elevate a person. You see, there are many people in their spiritual journey, they hit blockages. And the only thing that elevates that blockage is for one to go through hardship. That's why Imam al-Qadim in a hadith, he says, Al-mu'minu ka kaffatay al-mizan. That a believer is like two pans of a balance. You know, in the olden days when they would measure, they would put weights on one side and they would measure on the other side. The Imam says, Kullama zida fi imanihi, zida fi balaihi. That the more iman he has, the more trials that person he faces, because it is through trials that the love of this dunya is removed. You see, when people think love of the dunya, and this is the final point before Masayid, people only think that love of dunya is wealth or materialism. But the love of this dunya also includes the love of status as well. A person can live in a pious house and he could have a nice beard, but at the end of the day, what's driving him is that status of being muqaddas. That's why the hadith says, آخِرُ مَا يَخْرُجُ مِنْ قُلُوبِ الصِّدِّيقِينَ الْجَارِ. The last thing which leaves the heart of those who are truthful is the love of status. You see, if you look at a companion like Bahlul of Imam al-Qadim, it's not easy for somebody who is sahib-e-ma'rifat like Bahlul. You know, what is the ma'rifah of Bahlul? You and I, when it comes to a hadith of Ahlul Bayt, there is volume and volume of commentary. Just on Nahjul Balagha, I've seen 20 volume commentaries and 30 volume commentaries explaining the hadith of Ahlul Bayt. But Bahlul is that companion. Imam al-Qadim didn't have to give any explanation to Bahlul. All he says to Bahlul is Jeem, O Bahlul. And with that one letter Jeem, Bahlul understood the entire purpose of his life. This is somebody who is sahib-e-ma'rifat. And that person who is sahib-e-ma'rifat, he can only reach that status when his heart is tested and when he has removed this dunya from his heart. That's why Bahlul took that Jeem and he acted Majnoon to defend the haqq of Ali Muhammad. You know, Bahlul, he goes, he sits on the throne of Harun al-Rashid. And when he sits on the throne of Harun al-Rashid, the guards, they begin to hit Bahlul. And Bahlul, he begins to cry. And Harun says to Bahlul, why are you crying? Bahlul says, oh Harun, I'm not crying for me, I'm crying for you. Harun says, what do you mean? He says, I sat on the haqq of Ali Muhammad for a few minutes, and this is the punishment I received. You have been sitting on the throne and the haqq of Ahlul Bayt for your entire life, O Harun. You see, that companion, he reached this stage through ibadah and through trial and tribulation. And you find this is that reality of as-sahifat as-sajjadiyah. And I said, as-sahifatu sajjadiyah was the outcome of the musibah of Imam Zainul Abidin. That what is the musibah of Imam as-Sajjad? You know, it's stated that there are only 3 janazah within history. That the one doing the ghusl of that janazah broke down crying. The first of those individuals was Amir al-Mu'mineen when he was doing the ghusl of Fatima al-Zahra. The moment the hand of Ali goes upon the rib of Fatima, Amir al-Mu'mineen falls to the ground crying. Mayman says, "Oh Ali, why have you fallen like this?" Amir al-Mu'mineen says, "Oh Mayman, Fatima didn't tell me." You see, the second of these ghusl was the ghusl that Imam al-Baqir gave to Imam Zainul Abidin. That as Imam al-Baqir was giving ghusl to the body of Imam al-Sajjad, Imam al-Baqir, he saw the marks on the back of Zainul Abidin. They said, "Oh Muhammad al-Baqir, that what are these marks on the back of your father?" Imam al-Baqir says, "These are those marks that Shimari would use to whip my father from Karbala to Kufa, from Kufa to Sham." You know what the final ghusl is? The final ghusl is in that prison in Sham. When Imam Zainul Abidin and Sayyida Zainab, they see the bruises upon the body of the daughter of Hussein. At that point, Zainul Abidin begins to cry. You see, the musibah of the daughters of Sayyid al-Shuhada is a difficult masaib. You know, Abdul Muttalib in a tradition would say that when it comes to your wives they'll remarry. And your sons, they take your mirat and your inheritance. But it's only a daughter who is broken-hearted truly at the grave of her father. That wasn't it Zahra would go to the grave of Rasulullah, and Zahra would say, "Subbat alayya masaibun, law annaha subbat alayami sirna layaliha." That, "Oh Baba, that musibah came to me, that if that musibah came on the days would turn into the night." You know, the musibah of the daughters of Sayyid al-Shuhada. You know, it wasn't only Sakina that was the imtihan of Hussein. But there was also one daughter the Imam left in Medina. And that is that daughter Fatima al-Sughra. You know, Ayatollah Ni'matullah al-Jazairi and Anwar al-Nu'maniyah, he says that after Imam al-Hussein went to Karbala, every single day, Sughra would go towards the grave of Rasulullah. And she would make dua at the grave of Rasulullah. The hadith doesn't say what she would ask for, but one poet would write, she would say that, "Allow me to come and see my brother Ali Akbar." You find the riwayat says that she gets a messenger. She says, "Oh messenger, take this letter to Karbala." Ayatollah Ni'matullah al-Jazairi writes that when that messenger, he reaches Karbala, it was the day of Ashura, he says to the army that, "Where is Hussein?" They say, "You see that old man who is crying by the body of his son. Hussein was over the body of Ali Akbar." That messenger, he goes to Sayyid al-Shuhada. He says, "A'anta al-Hussein?" And the Imam says, "Yes, I'm Hussein. Who are you?" He says, "Ana Barid al-Sughra." Imam al-Hussein, when he hears the name of Fatima al-Sughra, he takes that letter from the messenger. It doesn't say what was written in the letter. But you know what the hadith says? It says that messenger said that your daughter gave a description. That description doesn't describe you. Imam al-Hussein says, what description did she give? She said that on one side, my uncle Abbas, on one side, my brother Ali Akbar, but you were all off. That messenger says that what reply should I give to your daughter? Sayyid al-Shuhada on the plains of Karbala, he takes the letter of Fatima al-Sughra, he places it on the chest of Ali Akbar. He says, oh Qasid, the blood will be the reply to Sughra. The other imtihan of Hussein was through his daughter Sakin. You know, on the day of Ashura, after Imam al-Hussein, he bids farewell. Imam al-Hussein, he looks to the right, فَنَّظَرَ إِلَى يَمِينَ وَالشِّمَالِ. And then as he looks to the right, he says, oh Akbar, oh Abbas, who is there to help me get on Dhul Jannah? It's stated Sayyida Zainab helps the Imam. But as Imam al-Hussein wants to go towards the Maqtal, Dhul Jannah doesn't move. Imam al-Hussein says, oh horse of my grandfather, have you left me today as well? But at that moment, Sayyid al-Shuhada, he looks towards the legs of Dhul Jannah. Sakina holding the legs of Dhul Jannah. She says, oh Dhul Jannah, don't take my Baba towards the Maqtal. Anyone who's gone towards the Maqtal hasn't come back. Imam al-Hussein, he goes towards Sakina. Sakina says, oh father, can you lay on the ground? Imam al-Hussein lays on the plains of Karbala. The Imam says, oh Sakina, after this, sleep with your mother, oh Sakina. You see, the night of Sham Ghariba, it came. That if you want to understand the Masaib of Sakina, it's stated in the Maqatil, when the wife of Hora or the army of Umar bin Saad, they brought water. The riwayat, they differ who brought that water. It's stated the moment Sayyida Zainab takes that water, she gives it towards Sakina. And she says, oh Sakina, the children, they drink first. You know what Sakina she does? She takes that water. She goes outside towards the battlefield. When she goes to the battlefield, Zainab says, oh Sakina, where are you going? Sakina says, oh my aunt, you are the one who said children should drink first. I am taking this water to my brother Ali Asghar. As the night of Sham Ghariba, it came. Sayyida Zainab is counting the children. When she's counting the children, she notices Sakina is missing. And when she sees that Sakina is missing, she begins to call the name of Sakina. At that point, she hears a voice from the cut body of Hassan. That voice said, oh Zainab, Sakina is upon my chest, oh Zainab. Sayyida Zainab says, oh Sakina, how did you recognize your father? Either you recognize through the head or the libas. The head of your father was cut. Sakina says, oh my aunt, when I was going by the body of my father, I heard that call. It said, Eleya, Eleya, Ya Bunayya. That come to me, my child. One more line of Messiah. You know, it's stated when this army, it goes towards Kufa. In Kufa, people began to bring sadaqah to Ahlul Bayt. And Sayyida Zainab would say, we are that household that doesn't take sadaqah. It's stated that one lady, she comes to Sakina and she says, oh girl, take this sadaqah. Zainab says, we don't take sadaqah. that lady says, "Oh girl, then can you make dua for us?" You know what that dua she requests? She says that, "Oh girl, in the way that you are yatim, pray that my children, they don't become yatim." Then after that, she says that pray that I can go to Medina. The moment Zainab hears Medina, she says, "Oh lady, who do you know in Medina?" She says, "I know the house of Ali and Fatima." She says, "Who do you know in the house of Ali and the house of Fatima?" She says, "I know Zainab, I know Hussein, I know Abbas." Zainab says, "Oh Habiba, I am Zainab, that is the head of Hussein." And oh Habiba, you see that head which is dragging on the streets of Kufa. Qasim bin Asbagh, he narrated that there was one head. That head was on the tail of the horse of Hormala. And that head was dragged to the streets of Kufa. And Qasim, he says, I would notice that Zainab would look towards that head. So I said to them, that which head is this? They say, "Oh Qasim, that is the head of Abbas," which were ala la'natullah. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين سيعلم الذين ظلموا ويا منقلب ينقلبون. Ya Allah, we ask through the musibah of that moment when Sakina would cry within the zindan of Shah, and Yazid would say that why is she crying? And they would say, "Oh Yazid, she misses her father." And Yazid would send the head of Sayyid al-Shuhada towards Sakina. When Sakina would see the head of her father, she would hold that head. She would say, "Oh Baba, who is the one that cut this neck of yours?" We ask through the musibah of that moment. Wherever the followers of Ahlul Bayt are in difficulty, help them. Wherever they're sick and ailing, cure them. Ya Allah, I pray that you give us the tawfiq to walk in the footsteps of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, to do the ziyarah of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, to receive the intercession of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, and to see the dhuhur of the final one from Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, Matam Hussein.
Hussein, Hussein. Hussein, Hussein. Hussein, Hussein. Hussein, Hussein.
جانم فدای زینب، جانم فدای زینب، جانم فدای زینب، جانم فدای زینب. Oh, on and on Muhammad, O progeny of Jafar, guarding Abba Abdullah, you were the sword of Haydar. We honor your shahada in this Azai Zainab. لبیک بر زبانم، جانم فدای زینب، جانم فدای زینب، جانم فدای زینب، جانم فدای زینب، جانم فدای زینب. From Karbala to Kufa, Kufa to Sham, Bibi, you brought a revolution with your kalam, Bibi. Hear the reverberations from that Sada Zainab. Labbaik bar zubanam, Canam fedai Zeynep, Canam fedai Zeynep, Canam fedai Zeynep, Canam fedai Zeynep, Canam fedai Zeynep. Your piety and iman, your sheer determination, your courage and demeanor, truly an inspiration. At par with Anbiya is Sabr Reza Zainab, Labbaik bar zubanam, Canam fedai Zeynep, Canam fedai Zeynep, Canam fedai Zeynep, Canam fedai Zeynep, Canam fedai Zeynep. Say no to every tyrant, say la ilaha illallah, say no to fear of dying, remember inna lillah. Calling to truth and justice is still nidai Zainab, Labbaik bar zubanam, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab. Ikra bismi Rabbik, read in the name of Allah. The indigent and hungry, feed in the name of Allah. Knowledge and empathy are what signifies Zainab, Labbaik bar zubanam, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab. Guarding the holy Rosa, we are the Shia lions, facing the evil arrows. We are a wall of iron. Until we die we will shelter Ridai Zainab, Labbaik bar zubanam, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab. We are the sword of Haydar, no army can defeat us. We are the plan of Zahra, no Lucifer can beat us. Like oxygen we breathe in, Karbo Barai Zainab, Labbaik bar zubanam, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab, Canam fedai Zainab.
Hussein, 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 Hussein,
Hussein, Hussein, Hussein, Hussein. Inna Allah ma sabirin, Inna Allah ma sabirin, Inna Allah ma sabirin. 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 My brother was dying of thirst by the side of the river. People wouldn't give us water, though we had children with us. Oh, people, give us water. We are the Prophet's household. Haqqali, inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Who will look after us now that we have lost Abbas and Akbar and Qasim, who were the light of our house? How can we not remember how Asghar has been slaughtered? Haqqali, Hussein, oh Hussein, Hussein is the king, Hussein is the prince, Hussein of Karbala. Hussein, oh Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Don't hurt us anymore now. Don't take us to the bazaar. Don't put the Prophet's household in such a poor condition. Don't you know that the ayat that the here is all about us? Haqqali, Hussein, oh Hussein, Hussein is the king, Hussein is the prince, Hussein of Karbala. Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, 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 Hussein. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.